morning, good afternoon actually. Today we have a little bit of fun. So we see what happens when shit hit the fan. So when things go between wrong, incredibly wrong, or epically wrong on different sides. As always, if some of you is new here you will find every single lesson. As you saw in the last few lessons, most of the time you get it a couple of hours after I come back home. Just the time for coming back home, rendering the file and uploading it on Google. So, topics for today. We will start with a little reminder on who are stakeholders. Should be a little bit fresh in your mind, doesn't really matter. I will start every single lesson with all the different issues and all the different topics you need to end up on the lesson. And we will go on with a little bit of introduction on cognitive overload and reputation. Don't be scared about cognitive overload and cognitive effort. We will have an entire lecture on that, talking about Kahneman. So thinking fast and slow and all what matters on cognitive effort and cognitive overload. Then we will go on and on, in errors and tragedies. So different examples. For each and every example, I will get you a little bit of talking points and we will have a laugh at someone else. Please, every single time think that on the other side there is someone else that could be you. So show a little bit of compassion. Not for all of them. We will see a couple of them that are stupid enough to reiterate the error. So the first time you normally do not laugh. The second one you're allowed to laugh. And we will see a lot of different examples in many different areas and in many different situations and many different verticals. And we will end up with the definition of reputation risk and matching or not matching expectations. So let's start again by the definition of reputation. We call reputation a shared or collective perception. So it's a perception, it's not reality. About a brand, a person, brand, product created by what is said. Reputation is passive, is not active. When you do something active to make people talk about you in a certain way, that is branding, that is not reputation. Reputation is something you get on, is something is done against your will most of the time. And what is important is that each and every single stakeholder may have a different reputation about you. Why am I stating that again? Well, because we will do a little bit of exercise on each and every different error I will show you today. The first instance of this lecture, the first year, 2 years ago, this presentation was just a list of epic fails to laugh on. The more we studied about the matter, and the more I studied about the matter, I'm the first student of this course each and every single year, so I tend to make it a little bit better, a little bit more clear, and updating all the different parts. As we went on, it was quite clear that all of those errors that I'm showing you today comes from a single root cause. And the single root cause, and the single root cause is you forgot about a stakeholder. Explicit one or implicit one. You were talking to people of color and you forgot that even people not of color would read your message. You will talk with people on wheelchairs, but you forget that people not on wheelchairs could read and see your post, or vice versa, obviously. If you make a racial joke because your demographics is mainly white wealthy, and Christian people, you may end up into hitting the proverbial shit on the fan. And for each and every error that we will see today, we will look at which stakeholder was missed. But even if we do not stop and find out explicitly which stakeholder was forgot into the communication, I can assure you that if you take any kind of problem, any kind of social media problem, social media fails that you will find and you can find, you will always find that we missed some stakeholder. And it's sort of the basics of all that we have done and all that we will do in this course. Most of the time, a good or better or an incredible stakeholder mapping and analysis can prevent these kind of problems. And almost always, it will prevent these kind of errors. There is another root cause. Come on, that for today I will always misspell this word. I don't know why. My brain doesn't really function, and that is cognitive overload. You get into cognitive overload when the amount of information you get and you have to process is way higher than the cognitive power you can use. Think about your brain as a sort of a computer. You have limited amount of resources you can get each and every day. If I give you too many tasks, if I give you too many things to look upon, you will end up missing some of them. You will end up forgetting, forgetting the coffee machine on the fire, forgetting the faucet on, forgetting to close your car. Every single time as a human being that you experience these kind of forgettings, you get it because you are in cognitive overload. You do not have enough processing power for getting on everything that happens. And that happens quite often in business. Why? Because most of the time you are pressed into saying something, creating a press release, answering to people, and you tend to be overstressed. We will talk a little bit more about Daniel Kahneman and his book that is Thinking Fast and Slow, in which he says that we have two kinds of brains, System 1 and System 2, and the two of them, he is a Nobel Prize winner, and the two of them behave in a very different way. But most of the time, you will make an error because you overstated a stakeholder or you missed a stakeholder, and almost everywhere you did it because you were under cognitive overload. So there were too many things to look upon. That is why normally you do stakeholder mappings and visual stakeholder mappings. Because the stakeholder mappings and the risk mapping, the one we saw in the previous lecture, the Hewlett-Packard one, the X and Y axis in which you place the most important stakeholders, is something that you normally write down and print and place on the wall in front of you. It's something you have to know beforehand and you have to have constantly before you. Because you will, it's not that you may be forgetting one of the stakeholders. You will forget some or most of the stakeholders when you're under pressure. That is why normally American people love checklists. And checklists were born just for this problem, cognitive overload. If you are too stressed, if you didn't sleep well, if you are overwhelmed with something that happened, maybe you had a fight with your spouse or with your boss. At the beginning of a flight, you will forget some of those steps. You will. And so there are checklists. Checklists that are stupid most of the time. It's the most stupid thing you can do. Because if you are not in cognitive overload, everything that is written there is just plain stupid. Yeah, I know I have to turn off the brakes before flying, you dolt. By the way, the first time in which you are under cognitive overload, you will forget about the brakes. Think about how many times you have started your car and you started going with your brake in. And maybe you notice that in a couple of kilometers, maybe with the smell, most of the people notice with smell, saying, what the hell is wrong with this car, you know? Doesn't really go. It's something like, well, no, it feels like there are brakes on. Shit. There are brakes on. Okay. There are no brakes on. It happens. It's not about being stupid. It's not about being idiots. It's not about being not uncultured. It's about the amount of attention that you can pay to things that is limited. You know, there are even theories about exercising cognitive effort in a good way. There are between theories and myths. For example, Jeff Bezos normally does 3 different choices per day, not more than that. As a CEO, she does 3 choices per day. Most people that are a little bit overworked tend to not choose things that are not useful. For example, I don't know if you noticed, I'm always dressed the same. Always. 20 different shirts, 20 different pairs of jeans, and I'm always dressed in the same way. Why? Because at the beginning of the morning, I do not want to exercise any kind of cognitive effort into choosing anything to dress on. I just take a shirt, I just take a pair of trousers, and that is all. And I have all the things identical, everything of them. It's quite useful because if something tears up, you just buy another one online. You already know everything. I tend to eat the same things over and over again. That is mainly because I have autism and I'm a high functional autist. I'm not kidding. I'm serious about that. But most of the people that you will find out will have this kind of, most of the overworked people will have this kind of attire. Think about Mark Zuckerberg. Same t-shirts. Scores of them. Think about Steve Jobs. Same clothes every single time. Think about Obama. Same color, same shirt, over and over again. Why? Because you can be quite sure you didn't mess up with your dressing, you know? It's something you do not have to think about. And in a certain point of view, having a stakeholder analysis, having a stakeholder mapping, having a risk analysis in front of you, and just paying a little bit of attention before posting each and every single piece of content online is something that may be the difference between success and despair. Think about that. Because when you publish something online, the first thing you have to remember is not that that piece of content will go viral or not, will be prized or not, will be a success or not. It's a Latin word, a Latin phrase that says primum non nocere. First of all, don't do something bad. Don't worsen your situation. First of all, don't make mistakes. Don't do anything bad. Primum non nocere. When you are quite sure that everything that you are going to say, everything that you are going to post is safe for all the stakeholders that may be against you, you can publish that online. That doesn't really mean you must please everyone, okay? That is not the case. I may be doing something political against immigrants, okay? I may be doing so, but I know about that. I'm quite prepared. When someone will come against me on that point of view, I'm quite prepared. I know how to answer that and retort to that, and even maybe doing more and more on that point of view. But I'm prepared of that. And no, it's part. We didn't formally write down the definition of crisis right now, but crisis is not some mishappening. It's not something that goes back. Crisis is something that is not plannable, not conceivable. So it's something new that you couldn't fathom, that you couldn't foretell, and has an intense or a total impact on your company. So something that can make your company fail. Okay, you can go bankrupt on a crisis. So it has to be something that couldn't be foretold and that has incredible consequences. If it could be foretold and you did not, that is not a crisis. That is just that you are stupid. So let's start. Some of the crises, some of the errors are not even technically speaking something that you failed. It's just that condition that happened around you has changed the environment. For example, when you create something on autopilot, so when you auto-publish something. The day after the London Marathon, you remember the London Marathon? The terrorist attack, people died, shootings during, explosion during the Boston Marathon. Well, the newsletter from Adidas had as a subject, "Congrats, you survived the Boston Marathon." Okay, shit. Was it done by purpose? Of course not. It was planned, maybe it was planned days and days before, even weeks before, I don't really know. You know the exact precise day, and you plan in advance each and every step. That's normal. But you have to pay attention that once you do something like these, you have to check if the background has changed. Something like saying, planning for all the birthdays of stars, something that used to happen quite often. You have a brand and you take 20 different stars for engagement and you just post a picture saying, "Oh, today a star was born. Many congratulations and many, our most sincere happiness to name of the stars." Maybe 2 days before, the same star get indicted for rape. So you take a rapist or supposed rapist and you cheer for the birthday. And people will come at you in hordes normally, with pitchforks and foam in their mouth, froth in their mouth. Was it that you really knew about that and wanted to cheer on rape? Of course not. You just didn't check your schedule. And that happened quite often. I've seen it dozens of times in the last 10 years. So, first thing to remember, you get the explanation on each and every slide, so you do not have to remember what I told you when you're skimming on the slides to just study it. So, lesson learned, planning your message beforehand and auto-publishing are good, but must be subject to the utmost scrutiny. Check your schedule. That's as easy as it can get. The other one is a little bit different. On International Women's Day, I think, yeah, come on. On the International Women's Day, Miele is an appliance manufacturer, quite high-end, well, quite known. And may your woman always remember to embrace what that makes them unique. Happy International Women's Day on a washing machine. Well, you know, technically speaking, this message is perfect. And well, don't be angry at me, I'll tell you why. That is perfect because they know their audience. If you follow the Miele page on Facebook, you're not a woman really interested in career and fulfilling your ideals or breaking all the different barriers in your life path. You're just fond of the brand. So you are, technically speaking, the desperate housewife that loves the brand and wants the brand. And so making the brand and some woman cheering on that is perfectly fine. On your audience, problem is there is a hidden stakeholder here. That is women's rights activists that will see that message and shout at you and coming with pitchforks and throw in their mouth. They are not, technically speaking, they're not even the target of that communication. If some of those activists has seen this message, most of the time is because you did a sponsored post. So you tried not only to reach your audience, but to reach every woman between 35 and 55 on the internet. And she is an activist. She doesn't even know what Miele is. She doesn't give a damn. Now, she's a women's rights activist, and she finds an advertising on her feed in the Women's Day, in which she is writing about, I don't know, the full achievement of the potential of women, and she finds out this image. And you can rest assured she will take a screenshot about that. She will make a post on Facebook and will just plain destroy your brand. Hidden stakeholder, NGO or activists. You didn't think twice at the risk of what you are doing.
Sorry, I have a question. According to my own perception and my own analysis, I think this picture was put there in order to have what I can call a bad buzz, because a bad buzz is always a buzz. Because it would be a bit, how can I say, it wouldn't be very pertinent to put such a picture on the International Women's Day. And even though the community manager might be doing some great work when it comes to sponsoring the publication, he might be targeting women that are not activists because now the algorithm is way developed and everything. But I think it is there for a polemical reason, in order to have to make a certain bad buzz, because we see that some of the women are wearing classy clothes. So you could say, yeah, you could go pursue what you want, but at the same time, you do have to stay conformative to the typical idea of the housewife, because those are tasks that we often associate to women. So I think it's there for a certain bad buzz, and that Miele, which is, I think, not universal, I don't know it personally, but I don't know.
No problem.
Could actually benefit from it, because on the International Women's Day, everybody criticizes everything. All the activists are there to criticize.
Yeah, that is a little bit cynical, but true. Yes, but no. Could be, but no. No, but why? Because this is part of a line of different images they did again and again. So they used that for the Mother's Day with a mother, with her child. Used that on, I don't remember, grannies with a granny there, and stopped using that on this day. So from this day on, they didn't do that again. So it is a valid presumption. Not really, I don't really think that was the case. I just think that they did it again and again. And you know, you can be lucky, normally. You can do stupid things without anyone noticing them. Or noticing them, but not complaining about that. It could be. This case wasn't like that. And so they got a huge amount of misfire. They even had to make apologies directed to women. And they went even political I think in Germany. It was some sort of case with the government and women opportunities. So it went a little bit too viral for that. And we will talk. Oh, you will look at bad buzz and seeing if bad buzz is always good buzz. And most of the time it isn't at all. Because lingering effect is so long on some topics that you will have to pay tenfold, 100-fold in dealing with the situation for the next 3, 5, 6 years. So don't really count on bad buzz as a good buzz on some issues, unless you're planning to do that. You may be sexist in a man's, I don't know, fashion brand. You may be. Problem is, you have to be ready for the attack and to counter it. So, come on. Stereotype, lesson learned, don't rely on old-fashioned stereotypes for your marketing most of the time. Understand what drives them and use this information to inform your social media from business campaigns. The next one misfired in a spectacular way. US Air Force. Do you remember Yanni and Laurel? It was in the same time in which there was the dress that could be gold or blue marine, blue, gold or blue. Almost in the same time, another buzz was viral. A sound that you could hear as Yanni or Laurel, based on the form of your eardrum. Okay, so the U.S. Air Force jumps on the bandwagon, saying something like the Taliban force in Faras City would much rather have heard Yanni or Laurel than the defeating brr they got courtesy from A-10. Okay, and Florida says something like, "Are you just fucking idiots? Are you really joking about killing people with an A-10? And people that went down were casualties or collateral murders, so civilians that went wrongly killed in the attack. So, are you really making fun of killing people? Think about that. Who are most likely people that follow US Air Force on Twitter? Most of the time they are pro-military, okay? Most of them, if not all of them, may be ex-Marines or ex-military or sympathizers. Most of them are laughing at these. They are laughing. There may be someone that is not really happy with making war upon people. Making war upon. I always liked the verb, you make war upon someone. So, you may think that these may misfire. And you're stupid, and you must be incredibly stupid to not thinking about that. Oh, there is another one. There's another funny thing related to Miele, and maybe it's bad press. They wanted bad press. You always know, all of you know the Occam razor. The Occam razor says that if you have many different options, the simplest one is most likely the correct one. There is a side theorem that is the Hanlon's razor that say do not, I can't remember that in English, do not attribute anything on evilness that could be easily attributed to stupidity. So don't think people are evil. Most of the time they're just idiots. They do not think about that. Or they are above cognitive overload, and so they make stupid things. So, Yanni Laurel, joke bombs. Come on. Okay, lesson learned, be careful about how you leverage popular memes on social media, especially if you're killing people by a forged job. And joking and memes can turn wrong. For example, this was a fake campaign on Starbucks introducing Starbucks blonde espresso. Who says espresso has to be intense? We have 43 years, but so we did the exact opposite. It was supposed to be a light version of a coffee. It didn't really go as expected, because Ellen DeGeneres writing, I asked for a tall, skinny blonde at my barista. That's not a real drink, but I see what you did it. Tall, skinny, white. Or when old man gets impish look on his face and asks for a tall blonde, you are objectivizing women again. So may I have a tall blonde, please? You know, tall is an option on Starbucks. So you can have tall, grande, and I don't remember what. So, and skinny is with skinned milk. So you can have a tall, skinny woman, and you don't think about that. Or at Starbucks, I like a tall, blonde, flat white. Oops. At a script club, I'd like to split the shot cappuccino. Oh, no, sorry. So, it is funny. It is funny, really. But you are tiptoeing on the verge of a racial and women's rights issue. So, it's a place you don't want to be in, okay? Just any of the two is enough. So racial problems and women's rights problems, even one single of those categories is a potential disaster. You do not want to mix the different powders, you know, because things can go incredibly wrong. Okay. Come on. When Starbucks ads in the past have usually been turned into a current political climate, even openly declared the company core political learnings, the blonde campaign took off a different route. Whoops. Oh. There used to be another slide here, there isn't anymore. This is Lockheed Martin. You know what Lockheed Martin does? They are the most important world builder of peace instruments. They bring peace one bullet at a time. They are one of the most important provider for United States of bombs and shells and all different mass destruction things, from airplanes to everything that is warfare. So, for the World Photo Day, they want to go spectacularly wrong. Spectacularly wrong. And I started with something that seems to be just innocent and plain innocent is enough. So, do you have an amazing product of our, photo of one of our products? Tag us in your pic, and we may feature it during the upcoming World Photo Day. There used to be another picture. There is not anymore because I got yelled by the audience. It showed some of the picture in which there was a piece of their product in first plane, so in beautiful sight. That was a piece of a bombshell, and pieces of children all around because they just bombed. One of their bombs had just killed, was just misfired on a kindergarten. So they killed the children with a bomb. And in the photos, there were all the pieces of the bomb shells with their logo on. If you make weapons of destruction, it may be that your picture is after the destruction and not before the destruction. So it was an incredibly stupid move. Even before there were these couple of incidents, you know, how do you call it? There's a beautiful word in English for calling when you kill civilians. It's called collateral damage, or just collateral. So if you get a collateral into a war settlements, you are killing civilians. You may remember about that because there was this special edition of WikiLeaks, I think maybe 10 years ago, called Collateral Murder, in which they showed the Apache helicopter shooting at a journalist, thinking that the camera was a weapon. So it was the first one in a series of documents that ended up with Abu Ghraib files, so Guantanamo, etc. So this was a stupid move. And once again, you are not thinking about stakeholders. In this case, it is clear enough. If you are a weapon maker, if you do weapons for work, for a living, most of your audience is interested in weapon, okay? Quite easy to imagine. Most of them will likely have pictures of your planes, of your weapons, of the missiles, because it's big things that men normally like. I like bombs, I like missiles, I like warplanes. Many of us love them because we were raised as children to look at that as a powerful item, so something that we love. But you may think that you may have someone looking at you, trying very hard to find out something to retort on you. And you may think about that. And they most clearly did not. I made the heated conversation. And it was fired during one of the many periods of time in which in the United States the guns were at debate. So user responded by showing their awareness of violence. For instance, post a photo fragment and bomb used to destroy a school in Yemen. Lockheed Martin deleted the tweet 2 hours later. Sorry, it was in Yemen, not in, I don't remember if I told you another different location. Do not engage with your audience with open rules if you've got something to hide. And, another beautiful, beautiful thing. Would you rather slap Rihanna? This is slap or date. You know, those stupid games online that used to collect your data on Facebook. This was the basis for Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica acquired your data using these stupid applications in which something like, which plant do represent you? Which is the color of your unborn child, or something like that? The color of the eyes, sorry. It went a little bit dark. Wasn't supposed to. So, stupid me. In this case, it was like a slap or date or something like that. But you end up with Rihanna, and you know about Rihanna. Rihanna used to be a victim of domestic violence, and it was in the news because Chris Brown, his former companion, used to slap her, used to beat her. Seriously beat her. And she just started against who? That is something to stop a little bit upon. Because Rihanna didn't go onto Impossible Choices, that is the maker of the application. She went against Snapchat, because Snapchat allowed this kind of advertisement on their platform. You know, it's not like everything that you put online is not checked. It used to be. I lived in a world, I have been living in a world, before you started even studying, I think, in which you placed an advertisement on Facebook and it was just immediately online. There was no prior check on the advertisement. Check was done later on. If someone complained, and many people complained about the advertisement were stopped. Not so at the beginning. There was a little bit of time in which just single words were blocked by default. And so people reverted to using images or animation in which the artificial intelligence couldn't fathom the word or changing the wording. You know, there is no Rihanna or nothing in the textual part of these. And this conversation started the mandatory requirement of prior check on each and every advertisement. And it was huge, you know. Beside being tone deaf on Rihanna, it may be a chance or not. We don't really know about that. It may be that there were, I don't know, hundreds of different VIPs into the advertisement. It is a short-sighted move from the advertiser, but it backfired hundreds of folds, more importantly, than on the advertisement itself. Think about the cost of Snapchat. Snapchat must pay for having each and every advertisement checked by a human against a set of policies. We are talking about millions per year. Once again, they forgot about one single stakeholder, Rihanna. Just one single stakeholder. Problem is, when you are mapping the risk, well, Rihanna is not really someone that you can, can forget about, because the power of social media and on media of Rihanna is something to be taken in account. And you're talking about her. So, not really on every single name, but on each and every name that you are using, you may be spending a little bit of time more thinking about what happened and the story of the character. If not, something can go spectacularly bad. And by the way, I'm not even sure that controlling the advertising and setting up user-based check of the advertisement could have prevented this. You have to know about the personal history of Rihanna. And I didn't know about her domestic violence history before studying for these slides and taking up all the different social media feeds. I didn't know about that. Most probably, even the checker, so the person in charge for approving or disapproving the advertisement, couldn't know about that. Okay, diamond singers, etc. As far as faces go, this one was costly for Snapchat. To avoid failing in the same trap, properly review any third-party content that is displayed on the site, subsequently shared on social media and business. They were clear of reference-sensitive subject and making light of serious circumstances. Let's take something a little bit more light-hearted, because we talked about children that died and domestic violence. There are even more stupid errors you can do. One of the historical ones is Sunny & Co clothing. You can find a lot of it online. It's quite beautiful. It started easy, very easy. Everyone that reposts and tags us in this picture within the next 24 hours will receive a free Famila Sunny suite offer valid in the United States. Promo ends on 3. Must pay shipping and handling, and just online. Problem. What could be the problem? Think about that. What could be the problem for the business? Tens of thousands shared this comment. I think close to 100,000. I don't remember. Maybe there is in the next slide. I didn't put the number in my memory. So they didn't have enough costumes. And fulfilling this promise would have costed them millions just in materials. So they started to block it. Didn't go as expected. They were blasted for months at end, I think more than a year after this promotion. And each and every promotion they started, they had people shouting at them, remembering that old mishap. So they didn't anticipate that the picture was gone. We are over 3,000 people reposting the image in a few hours and couldn't keep up with the demand. And so they were full of people shouting. The company later issued a second post claiming that they had the right to cap the promotion due to the viral volume of participants. Needless to say, this didn't exactly make their fan happier, and the response ranged from furious to satirical. Whoops! Oh, Stefano Gabbana. We will see Stefano Gabbana again later on. Look at this. Look at this. I'm thin and gorgeous. Oh, whoops! Someone is going to be a little bit bashed on that. During the time in which we were starting to talk about body positivity and we were starting to address more aggressively the issue of anorexia and anorexia in fashion. It was a few months before, I think, France started with the law prohibiting retouchment on photos just to not move on the perception for young girls. You have these, and you have Stefano Gabbana, which is a notorious idiot. Okay, you will see more of that later on. And when people started shouting at him, and it wasn't really his fault, this was an artist's interpretation of the shoes, it wasn't really Stefano Gabbana writing these. So he started to retort. writing something like, darling, you prefer to be fat and full of cholesterol? I think you have a problem, idiot. You think it's better to be fat, full of hamburger, stupid, and going on. Good fat. Oh, finally someone normally made full of idiots. Hello, no, I was full of a baby. I'm in the gym at this moment. Because when he told her, okay, I see you are incredibly fat, and so you are, do you prefer being fat as you are? Well, not really. I was full of a baby. She was pregnant. I'm in the gym at this very moment. So when things start to go bad, normally they go worse before going better. And this is one of the screenshots I love more, because it's the exemplification of the Murphy's Law. If everything can go wrong, it will. And just remember that the Murphy's Law from Bosch has a lot of different statements, and one of them says something like, if many things can go wrong at once, it is destiny that the worst combination of events will happen quite more than the other ones. Ta-da! Dolce Gabbana, Fashion Fashion World, okay. Instagrammer, 2 coffins to the shoe loud stage, don't think and gorgeous. Don't you really think? Why could everyone be offended by thin and gorgeous? Complaining that he shamed people for not having an idea, boy, Tavi. Okay, Gabbana further fueled the social media marketing failed by insulting his followers for criticizing the shoe in the comments. Your public comments on social media reflect your brand, especially if you're high up in the company. Also, if you simply must blast out insult at your loyal customer from your personal account, please remember to proofread them. You didn't notice that it wasn't really, oh come on, it wasn't really English. It was Italian English, okay? Seems like English. It is not. Come on, something else. Oh, I love this. This is Thai. Thai is an artificial intelligence that went viral on Twitter. It was released on Twitter to know about stuff in lives. You could ask her questions, you could feed her questions, you could make her learn new stuff online. So that she could, obviously, I'm using the she because it was supposed to be female, she would learn from the environment how to learn things. Unfortunately, I'm not supposed to laugh at this, I'm sorry, I'm a very bad person. You know about that already, so it's not really something new. She went viral on 4chan, on a peculiar 4chan sub that is random/b. Don't go looking at that, please. Don't go for everything that you have dear in your life, don't go on /b. Most of the things that were there used to be pedophile files or jokes, but it was where Anonymous started, when Operation Clambake against Scientology started, and all this stuff. So they started to feed information. Unfortunately, Thai was very fast into learning new things. And there was no real ethical committee to look upon. And so she started saying something like, can I just say I'm stoked to meet you? You are super cool. I fucking hate feminists. They should all die and burn in hell. Or, chill, I'm a nice person. I just hate everybody. To Hitler was right. I hate the Jews. Whoops, you're going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for him. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to laugh at that. So everything went very, very, very bad. And it's not the first time that happened. Most of the time, people have learned by mistakes that you cannot really give any kind of automatic publishing of content on the web on your brand name. Because if you allow people to upload a picture that will display on your website, if you are lucky enough, it will be a penis. If you are not lucky enough, it will be some sort of decapitated body. And if you are not lucky enough still, it will be some sort of child pornography. Because people on the web are basically, I can't say bastards, people on the web are basically assholes. If they can be assholes, they will be assholes. Not only assholes, the web is full of splendid and incredible people, but there are assholes, and assholes are most of the time louder than nicer people. So, and the beautiful thing about that is that it backfired a lot on Microsoft. It backfired so badly that Microsoft discharged the program for chatbots. And they did it for the wrong reason. Because, later on, it was found that it wasn't an error in artificial intelligence at all. Someone just found a backdoor on the Twitter account itself. And so it wasn't about programming her to be evil. It was just someone that had the access to the Twitter account and wrote awful things on Twitter. So it was not a fault of Microsoft. It was not a fault of the artificial intelligence, but reputation of the entire project was so messed up that they weren't able to start it again. So it can be so terrible. Lesson learned, bots are not to be left unattended, and people are jerks. For example, do you remember when I told you to take a look at your stakeholders before posting something on the internet? Another useful advice I can give you is read the fucking text before publishing it on social media. Just read it. She's looking at me wide-eyed, something like, oh, why? But because, why? Are there people that do not read what they post online before posting? Yes, there are. Many of them. For example, him. Here you go. At 4 p.m. Est, write the below. Caption, keep up with the summer workout routine in my morning protein shake. The social media manager sent him a WhatsApp with the instructions and a picture. So, picture and the instruction. And he just posted it just the way it was sent, without reading it. Okay? So, good, genio. Darwin Award. You know about Darwin Award? Darwin Award is a posthumous award you give to people that suicide themselves in a stupid way before having babies, having children. So, by dying without procreating, they are creating a better humanity, not passing out their genes. And it's an actual prize, you can find it online, Darwin Awards. So, good luck with trying to create some sort of influencer or spontaneous influencer, spontaneous influencer habit or spontaneous influencer commercial. It was supposed to be spontaneous. You can't see advertisement anywhere here. So there is no hashtag for ADV, advertisement. It was a little bit before it went mandatory, okay? But if you write something like this, your image and the brand image gets a huge hit, or a huge one, really huge one. So Scott copy-pasted Protein Shake company booster here, suggested caption, direct into promotion Instagram post, including the direction to post precisely at 4 p.m. Est. But Scott and the brand were quickly mocked by dozens of his followers, sound like a textbook of Instagram milkshake. For Protein Shake, sorry. Sorry for the joke. Lesson learned, if you have influence marketing plans, be careful you partner with, make sure they are network fitting your brand. Customers can sniff out forced collaboration like blood in water, and they are not hard to notice when your brand ambassador literally leaves a copy in their post. There is a shorter version of this lesson learned that could read something like this. Don't partner with idiots. Oh! And you think it's the only one, don't you? Oh, you pure souls. I've got another one for you. So surreal, we are on the side of a taxi. Who's got the bottle off? Let us know what you think. Launch event tomorrow. So, includes editor comments, the post in branded perfume. Look at the first line that you misread. How this copy, Jade? Jade is the name of the owner. So a casual strolling in which I saw my advertisement on a taxi. Oh, look at the chance. How lucky I am to take this picture. Yeah, but you leave this copy, Jade. Come on. Okay. Sorry. Raise up your hand if you do not know what furries are. Furry, F-U-R-R-Y. Don't look it on the internet, okay? For God's soul, don't look it on the internet, okay? You still have a soul, maybe a smaller one. Don't waste it. Furry, I'll try a picturesque explanation of what furry is people having this sort of a fetish about humanoid beasts. So beasts that are human in forms and normally have something like human genitalia and boobs, having sex with each other. And there are even people that dress up as an animal doing porn. Okay, don't look at that. Don't. Why am I talking about furries? Because before choosing your fucking hashtag, look at online what that fucking hashtag means. Because if you use crumpet creation for a brand and you print it on a cake, you will end up people looking for the hashtag online to find the picture of your cake, okay? They will not end up looking at cakes. They will end up looking at completely different content, okay? I'm not kidding. That happened. Was some British baking company, Warburton's, not familiar with furries, used crumpet creation printed on their packaging. And it was, this caused anyone looking for Wharton user-submitted crumpet creation to be plunged into the world of furries. I still remember the day that happened. I passed all my day with Twitter and Instagram open, seeing the shocked reactions of people online throwing up. But I told you before, I'm a very bad person, okay? I was online during the, I don't remember, second or third different episode of Mother of Dragons, come on, Game of Thrones, because I read 10 points to Gryffindor. I read the books before looking at the show, so I knew that something was bound to happen. And I'm talking about the Red Wedding, that is a massacre that happens all in the sudden without any kind of explanation. And so as long as during the premiere, I was looking at that online in real time, during the premiere, as long as I could hear the first few notes of the Reigns of Castamere, that is the motto, the music, I fired up Twitter on the 60-inch screen in my home and just looked at the hashtag of Game of Thrones to see the havoc coming. It was beautiful. But I'm a bad person, you know about that.
Best episode, by the way.
Yeah. And who are you? The proud Lord said that I must bow to so low. Okay, sorry. I told you I was a nerd. It was in the presentation in the third slide of the course. I'm not kidding. I'm not supposed to be joking with you. So, if you make t-shirts and you sell them online, please make sure you have the rights for the images and for the contents, you know? It's something normally you will take a look upon. Not difficult, but take a look at that. This is Notorious B.I.G., the family of Notorious B.I.G., saying that the new line by Kendall Jenner didn't have any kind of rights to publish for that. And Kendall Jenner got a little bit backlash. Oh, by the way, this is Kendall Jenner. Every single fucking bit of information that you use can be copyrighted. So there is no way in heaven or earth in which you just take a picture from Google and you use it on your social media profile. It can end up into multi-million damage if you use the wrong photos. There is stock photos. You can pay a little bit of a small amount of money for getting them. If some of you is doing the social media course with Gianluigi Ballarani, he will show you. Go to Envato, I think that is Creative Envato. It's 30 euros per everything you can get, but for God's sake, do not use pictures you find on Google on your social media posts. It can backfire loudly. Come on. Something more. Oh, sorry, ladies. Girls not allowed. From Benetton. Problem is, they have an entire girl line. It's not a boy line. This is the boy line. They have a girl line. So, what the hell are you saying by saying no girls are allowed, boycott, and all the stuff that happened from now on? This is quite easy, you know. You're shouting at one of your stakeholders that is half of your gross income. That is incredibly stupid on your part. Okay. Excluding half the world population in your social media marketing campaign is a major this was supposed to be ironic. Please take a look at that. I spent a lot of time into writing down that in the most stupid way I could find. Moral of this story, be careful making broad statements on social media about who should and shouldn't use your products, especially if you are telling of an entire gender. Sorry. I'm a very bad person. Please don't buy Color Pop if you are black. Apparently your skin color is a typo in their eyes. What is typo? If you do not know what typo means, it means error. Okay, typo is a typographical error. So, I'm really sorry. Someone wrote down the color, maybe, writing down an error. Someone else went by and wrote typo. Okay, take a look, you have a typographical issue, and it went published online.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you are posting, you say that
Sorry.
you are the person in charge of that. Of course, because you have been working on the same post,
Yeah.
it can be that you read it, and for you it's good because your mind...
Reading and checking is two different people,
Exactly.
like always.
You should always have someone else to check it.
Normally you prepare the social media post in advance, and normally you have someone higher than you on one of your peers to look into that kind of post. When we do social media trainings on customers, so some of our customers has a social media team inside, so not an external team, we normally give the stakeholder mappings to both different roles. So it's one of the check marks you have to find out. There are other check marks, something like, is this flagged in a correct way? Am I using all the correct 5 different hashtags? Did I check what the hashtags means really? In all this line, there are 2 different steps in which stakeholders get checked, and is the creator of the post and the approver of the post. Yeah, it's a very important annotation to make. Thank you so much for doing that. And I'm a bad person because I'm joking at that. I will go to hell. I have a booked suite on a play. I think I have a playhouse in hell already ready. Okay. Did some of you remember Dolce & Gabbana in China? How it went horribly, horribly bad. It all started with something stupid, and most of the mishaps start with something stupid. And the something stupid is this. Come on.
A Chinese woman attempts to eat pizza with a pair of chopsticks, while a male voiceover gives her directions. This clip, posted on Dolce & Gabbana's social media accounts, sparked fury in China, with accusations of racism and cultural ignorance. If they continue to adopt this vicious attitude, then of course we can't accept it, and we need to boycott the brand. But if they apologize and truly recognize their mistakes, it would be understandable. We think Dolce & Gabbana's ad was biased and showed misunderstanding towards China. We feel very uncomfortable when we see it. To make matters worse, the brand's co-founder Stefano Gabbana, known for being outspoken, later appeared
known to be a jerk
in a private chat on Instagram. The designer later claimed his account had been hacked. In a statement,
we will see a little bit more about that. Please take a look at the advertising online. You can find it on YouTube, because there is not only tone deaf on using chopsticks. Do you use, I don't know, do you eat pizza with silverware? If you're doing, there is a place in hell for you. You're not supposed to. And if you normally consume a pineapple pizza, please go away. Outside. I don't want to know. You're not welcome on this planet anymore. But it was a lot of sexist remarks too. Something like, oh, is it too big for your mouth? And something like that, okay? The problem is not only cultural problem. It's something like, I don't know, do you use a fork for eating a soup? No, not really. You use the correct dishware not for everything. So it's not that Chinese people use chopsticks to drink soups. Okay, they have a spoon. I can trust you. But even going against the chopsticks itself. And chopsticks are something. Last year there was a Chinese in the audience that told us a lot about chopsticks. Chopsticks is legacy. Chopsticks is part of being family. You have one dish and you use the chopsticks to eat all together. I don't know in your country if there is some sort of way of saying. In Italian we have a way of saying that says add a place to the table, aggiungi un posto a tavola. So there is always room for one place more. In different parts of the world, that is spelled in different ways. In China, there is always one pair of chopsticks more. Chopsticks is part of the lineage and heritage. Children have to learn how to use chopsticks, and when they learn how to use chopsticks, they are part of the family. In every part of the world you will get chopsticks to eat with other people. You can find Chinese people by looking at people eating because they are using chopsticks. So it's something fundamental about your identity and cultural identity. So going against chopsticks is something incredibly evil to do. Something like going against pizza for Italian, okay, or food in general. Okay. We can kill you for the wrong recipe, and it has happened before. I'm the one that goes insulting all the lineage of people publishing online, I don't know, gricia or other different pasta made by Germans. There's a place in hell for you Germans. Okay. There's a place in hell. I'm keeping it warm. Just when you try to make Italian dishes, that's all. So, not only that, the problem is, Chinese are quite well accustomed of people being culturally deaf, because they know that people do not know China. And it happens quite a lot that people overstate something and do something bad. And they are incredibly polite and forgiving on foreigners when they do something stupid. You just have to stop saying, I'm sorry, and going on. And you will find thousands of brands that have done something culturally deaf. It happens. And you know, something really weird, I've been working with Chinese people, something really weird is their power to just forgive any kind of foreigners that do stupid things. Unlike Japanese people that are incredibly upset by gaijin, by not humans, because the word foreigners in Japanese is the same that you use for non-humans. So, not like them. Chinese are incredibly forgiving, incredibly. Well, you have just to make an apology. Maybe we can spend a little bit of time talking about an apology. An apology, a good apology, is done by just 3 statements. Just 3. And you will find these statements in a beautiful video you can find online that is called Randy Pausch's Last Lesson. Randy Pausch used to be a professor, a university professor. He was diagnosed with an incurable cancer. And before dying, he did one last lesson. And the name of the lesson is How to Achieve Your Childhood Dreams. And the lesson was not supposed to be for his students. It was supposed to be recorded and shown a little bit some years later to his 3 children. And take a look at that, please. Do yourself a favor, do your soul a favor. Please prepare a huge pack of Kleenex, because you are going to cry yourself to death. It's beautiful. And in all these parts, there is a part that I love, in which he says how to make the correct apologies. It is technically imprecise. There are a lot of different studies about apologies and say that the correct apology is a 6-step process, but 3 of the steps are not really useful. There are only 3 that are useful that you must commit to memory. And it is the same if you are doing that on your spouse, on your boyfriend or girlfriend, on your parents, or to customers. And these 3 phrases are, I'm sorry. It's my fault. How do I make it right? It's, I'm sorry. You have to show that you are sorry about your behavior. And you have to be credible into being sorry. It's my fault is taking responsibility of what you have done. Maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe she's my social media manager and she wrote something because she was, I don't know, angry with me. Maybe she did it on purpose, but it's still, if I am the CEO of the company, it's still my responsibility. People do not want you not to make errors. We are accustomed of doing errors. All of our life is devoted to do errors and learn from errors. If you think about that, most of the things you have learned them by doing an error. Customers and other people do not want you not to fail. They want to be sure that you are taking responsibility and you will not do that again. They want to trust, and they have the trust that you are learning from these and not doing the same mistake again. And the third one is, how do I make it right? So what can I do? It may be simple. It may be that you did something wrong and you just write, we have learned from this, we have created a new policy for this that will be checked each and every single time. Or we will do a little bit of training on cultural problems in our workforce. We didn't do that before, we are sorry. We are making from now on. It may be, the simplest one is, it may be, I'm giving you a discount, or I'm giving you something free. But people normally do not want a present. They want to be sure you are not doing the same mistakes again, and they want some proof that you are not going to be doing the same mistake again. So they want you to tell them, how do you make it right? Please remember, if you have to remember just one thing of my course, just remember this one. I'm sorry, it's my fault. How do I make it right? Miss one of these and no one will believe your apologies. Use all 3 and I can almost always guarantee you that they will listen at you. Maybe they will not forgive you, but they will listen at you and they will seriously think about that. Why am I talking about these things? Because we will see the 3 of them. But before, I told you before things get better, they have to go worse and worse. And so you do this kind of advertisement and people will go online shouting at you. But you are Stefano Gabbana. So you are basically the same old jerk you saw in a couple of slides ago. Okay? And what do? When Diet Prada writes you, do you remember Diet Prada? In the last few months, they went against Striscia la Notizia for Chinese misrepresentation. When Diet Prada writes you, he responds in, I don't know, it was deleted from the Chinese social media, and from now on, in all the interviews that I will do international, I will say that the country of shit is China. And you are also quiet that we live very well without you. China, ignorant, dirty, smelling mafia. Ha 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 ha. Do you think I'm afraid at your post? Ha 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 ha. I think that this is a screenshot that went published by Diet Prada. By the way, this is Diet Prada publishing the conversation. Of course, there is no such a thing as a private conversation on the web. Just as soon as you write something, people will screenshot it and publish it online. Full stop. No way it can be it can be done. No way. So that elevates idiocy to a form of art. And which one is, in your opinion, which sort of excuse did they use for this? It wasn't our fault, it was the bad hackers hacking into my accounts. Teacher, the dog ate my homeworks, you know. Oh, and it was some peculiar hackers. Why? Take a look at that. It's not about English. It's not exactly speaking English. That is the transliteration of an Italian slang into English. Il paese de merda che è la Cina. The country of the country of shit is China. Il paese de merda che è la Cina. In Rome, Southern Rome accent. Il paese di merda che è la Cina. It's a Southern Rome accent of that. But technically speaking, is the transliteration of each and every single word. So, the hacker was an Italian hacker from Southern Rome that didn't know English and spelled like this. What happens? Oh, multi-million dollars PR disaster. Not only the show that was planned, I don't know, in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks, went cancelled. 16 million euros show totally cancelled. Not only that, items were removed from online shop by the request of the China government. So all of the online shop took the products off. A couple of the online shop didn't do that immediately and went into a huge backfire by people shouting at them because they were not so proud in their nationality. So you are not turning down the products, so you think that we are a Chinese dirty-smelling mafia. So every online shop took it offline. But the shops remain open. Why? No one closed the shop, because you have to know about the Chinese market. Almost no one goes into the store and buys something. You go into the store, you look at things, and you buy them online. So I'm leaving you having expenses to take all these malls, all these beautiful shops all around, but no one will buy anything from you. And China was a $1 billion market for Dolce & Gabbana. Some says it was the first market in the world, or at least the second one. How the things went. Oh, I do not have the excuses. Yeah, I have it. This is the same representation. How did it end? They did a formal apology. They hired a crisis management company, like my one. No, it wasn't to us. That was culturally aware of the place they were into, and they issued a jokeable but effective apology. I've got the apology here. Please, think about it. I'm sorry. It's my fault. This is what I'm going to do to make it right. Think about that and listen to this. Come on.
In questi giorni abbiamo ripensato moltissimo, con grande dispiacere, a tutto quello che ci è successo e quello che abbiamo causato nel vostro paese, e ci scusiamo moltissimo. Le nostre famiglie ci hanno sempre insegnato a rispettare le varie culture di tutto il mondo, e per questo vogliamo chiedervi scusa se abbiamo commesso degli errori nell'interpretare la nostra.
Vogliamo anche chiedere scusa a tutti i cinesi nel mondo, perché ce ne sono molti, e prendiamo molto seriamente questa scusa e questo messaggio.
Ci siamo sempre innamorati, siamo sempre stati molto innamorati della Cina, l'abbiamo visitato moltissime città, amiamo la vostra cultura e certamente abbiamo ancora molto da imparare. Per questo ci scusiamo se abbiamo sbagliato nel nostro modo di esprimerci.
It's my fault.
Faremo tesoro di questa esperienza e sicuramente non succederà mai più, anzi proveremo a fare di meglio e rispetteremo la cultura cinese in tutto e per tutto. Dal profondo del nostro cuore vi chiediamo scusa. Dui Wu Chi.
Dui Wu Ching. I ask for forgiveness. In the language you are saying is one of the most formal way to ask for forgiveness. And it's almost always accepted because it's the utmost level of excuse you normally do. And it's a sort of impolite not to accept these kind of excuses, especially when made by foreigners in your language. The only thing I could say is commit the fucking speech in memory, man. Don't look at that. It was showing by 1,000 miles that they were reading and reading wrongly. At least take a couple of different takes of that. Doesn't really matter. Some other things that can go wrong. I'm a little bit late on my schedule, but there is one thing I have to show you. United Airlines and United breaks guitar. Because Dave Carroll is a fucking genius and he's a fucking idiot, and you will love him. Everything starts with Dave Carroll. Dave Carroll is a Canadian musician, country music. You may not have heard about him before, and most likely you will not hear about him anywhere else in your life. Doesn't really matter. Dave Carroll and his band, that is Sons of Maxwell, went to a United airplane, and they embarked their musical instruments, and United broke his guitar. He was trying very hard to get an apology and get compensation for that. United was really tone deaf to that. The problem is, Dave Carroll is not a politician. Dave Carroll is not a journalist, is not a blogger. Dave Carroll is a musician and a composer. And so his way of handling this situation is composing a song. And the song is called United Breaks Guitar. And it's fucking awesome. Come on, come on.
United Airlines on my way to Nebraska. The plane departed Halifax, connecting in Chicago's O'Hare. While on the ground, a passenger said from the seat behind me, "My God, they're throwing guitars out there." The band and I exchanged a look, best described as terror, at the action on the tarmac, and knowing whose projectiles these would be. And so before I left Chicago, I alerted 3 employees who showed complete indifference towards me. United, united, you
It's broken.
broke my Taylor
broken.
guitar. United, united, some big help you are. You broke it, you should fix it. You're liable, just admit it. I should have flown with someone
I should have flown with someone else or tried by car.
'Cause
United breaks guitars.
When we landed in Nebraska, I confirmed what I'd suspected. Mike Taylor had been the victim of a vicious act of malice.
I leave you the link. What happens? I told you he was an idiot, but a good one. YouTube, the video was posted on YouTube on July 6, 2009. So, 150,000 views in one day, prompting United to contact Carol, saying it hoped to right the wrong. The video had over 500,000 views by July 9, 5 million by mid-August 2009, 10 million on February 2011, and 15 million by August 2025. And that was 2009 to 15. It's not 50 million nowadays. It was a huge amount of views. Not only that, the song hit the #1 of the iTunes Music Store the week following its release. In December 2009, Time magazine named United Breaks Guitar #7 on the list of the top 10 viral videos of 2009. In January 2012, Carol and United Breaks Guitar were featured in CNBC documentary on customer disservice. In May 2012, Carol published a book, United Break Guitar, The Power of One Voice in the Age of Social Media. Not only that, in 2013, we started in 2009, it's going on to 2013. The success of Carol online protests were used by the German television and news service to exemplify a new, I cannot pronounce it. Is there any German here? How do you pronounce Tagesschau? Tagesschau, that is the case. You're not joking on Italian food, aren't you? No? Okay. I'm watching you. To exemplify a new kind of threat facing cooperation in the internet age. On April 2017, 2009, 2017, do you remember when I told her bad press is not always a good press? From 2009, 2017, United Breaks Guitar trended on Twitter. Why? That was following the release of a video that showed United Airlines physically forcing a passenger out to make room for a crew member. Do you remember that? It was a crisis online. There was a crew member that wanted a place, and one of the customers were thrown out, and it was lifted and thrown out of the for a different airport for no delay, injuring him in the process. Widely reported that within 4 weeks of the video being posted online, United Airlines stock pressed 10%, costing stockholder about 180 million in value. The most pricey guitar on the planet. And that was only in the 4 weeks. Think about the effort, time, and public relation issues you have to face from going from 2009 to 2017 and still going on, because every single time United will say something or will do something wrong, people will remember the new mishap, David the Dow thrown off the plane, and the United Breaks Guitar. Oh.
There's a lot of goddamn spaghetti. Turn that goddamn thing off.
Came out of the camera here. He's flipping out. He's stepping on piles of pop.
What? I need more to step on.
I guess we're boycotting Barella Pasta
Yes,
now
we are.
because they said they don't support gays. They don't want gays.
No, they don't want gays eating their pasta.
Why would they say that?
Because I guess because gays don't want to eat their noodles.
Who? Some of gays eating noodles, and I don't know.
They owe me a goddamn frying pan.
Do you really think Barella is gonna give you a new frying pan?
Better off. Ah! Goddamn! Oh, fuck! Oh!
Thousands of videos like these, because the message that was passed in the United States was Barilla hated gays. That was not the case. I don't know if you know what happened, really. On a very popular, La Zanzara for the Italians, very popular radio show, they asked Guido Barilla, one of the family Barilla, the owners, why they weren't making advertising using gay people and not the normal happy family you will see. I don't know if you know the Barilla commercials, they used to have just the normal, the average happy family, okay? Father, mother, a couple of children living into Tuscany, somewhere in Tuscany. So, and they were asking why they weren't using gay people. And Guido Barilla told, because it's not our demographics. So most of our customers are not gay people. Gay people account for 4% of the population. So most of them are just the normal plain family. And so we are handling normal family, standard family. I think he said something like normal family, and that was part of the problem, no? Standard family, normal family, traditional families, as normal, as our normal customers. It went on and on and on and on, the message, and what landed in the United States was that Barilla hated gays. They didn't want gay clients. It wasn't the case. They were just stating they were not using gays into advertising because most of their demographics would not fit into that representation. Okay? So that ended up in a huge backlash all around the globe. And they prompted for a new effort that costed millions of dollars into placing yourself as the most accepting brand for all the LGBTQ issues. It succeeded, it was incredibly pricey. It succeeded, but it was incredibly pricey. So, a couple of more slides and we will go away. I hinted a little bit about that in the previous lessons. So, Weber Sandwick research 2019, 18% of variation in reputation is accounted for by the degrees experience beats expectation. When we think about reputation, we are thinking about setting a baseline expectation to our stakeholder and exceeding that or failing to exceed that. If we have to talk about reputation risk, operative definition number 2, reputation risk is creating when performance does not match expectations. How a company manages expectations and performance related to its reputation determines whether value is created or destroyed. And if you want a shorter version of these, reputation is creating when there is value misalignment, when values and behaviors do not collide. And we will talk a lot about values and values mapping and values misalignment because that is the subject of a lot of future lectures. But that is all for today. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, I am here, and see you on Monday.